everybody, it is your girl here, GenuinelyDivine, coming at you today with a video all about Leo rising. Hello Leo rising people, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do upload every Tuesday and it's always about astrology, love, and life. And if you like either one of those things, this is definitely the place to be, okay? Like for real. You guys, so let's talk about Leo rising. Your rising sign is your persona. It is a projection of your physical attributes as well as your personality traits. It's how you show yourself to the world, and it's the way that the world sees you and the way they feel like you come off, you know. So with Leo being the 5th zodiac sign, ruling the 5th house, being ruled by the sun, these people naturally stand out. They naturally get attention without even, you know, trying to get attention. They always get attention. It doesn't even matter if they're the most physical attractive or not. They're going to stand out in some type of way. They have a dynamic type personality, even if they don't talk a lot. They just have this personality, or they have this thing about them that gets them a lot of attention. Now, some Leo rising people are attention seeking. Of course, they do things to get attention, but for the most part, most Leo rising people, they naturally get the attention. Another thing about your rising sign is your rising sign also contributes to your physical attributes, but I will not be talking about them in this video, but I will link a video in the description box below so you guys can check that out. I just don't want to make these videos so long. The thing that I notice about Leo rising people is they have Virgo on the 2nd house cusp. So a lot of times they're very careful, and they do a lot of thinking and a lot of planning when it comes to things that they value. They try to think about it long and hard before they make a final decisions in life a lot of times. But then there's these type of Leo risings who do kind of like, they don't do a lot of planning. They don't do a lot of thinking. Sometimes they just kind of like go out there and just do it. I'm doing the houses based on the solar chart, okay? So if you don't have Virgo on the 2nd house cusp, just keep moving, okay? It's okay. That's your personal birth chart. A lot of them who do have Virgo on the 2nd house cusp, a lot of times they do a lot of planning, a strategic planning when it comes to things of value, when it comes to the way they spend their money and the way they invest their money. They're very they pay very close attention to details before they make a transaction. They may be the type of person who, you know, check their receipt after they leave the store or whatever, like oh, okay, what was this charge or something. You know, they can be very critical in that way. They can also be the type of people where they just actually, they find value in keeping things closed off, you know, like they may always seem like things are just perfect on the surface, but underneath, you know, in their heart and in their soul, there may be a raging fire, or, you know, some type of raging emotions that are going on under the surface. But they place value in looking like things are always put together, and they are always put together, okay? Another thing about them is they really love being around other people to a certain extent, okay? They really love to be around other people because they really and truly love to be admired. They have Libra on the 3rd house cusp, and with Libra being here, a lot of times they can be the type of people where they can be very balanced in their communication, or they love to keep peace and harmony. So a lot of times they may tell people exactly what people want to hear rather than telling them the absolute truth. Sometimes because they don't really want to hurt people's feelings, they want to keep beauty and peace and harmony going on with when they're communicating. So they can sometimes not be 100% honest, you know. So if you ask them, hey, do I look good in this? How do I look? They may be like, oh girl, you look so pretty. But in all actuality, maybe you don't look so good in that. And then they're just telling you that because they don't want to make you feel bad about it. Another thing about Libra being on the 3rd house cusp is Libra represents other people. So, and the 3rd house is all about logical thinking and your early development and short distance travel. A lot of time Leo rising people, they worry a lot about what other people think about them, or what other people are talking about, or what other people are doing, or what other people have. In a nutshell, they worry a lot about other people. They talk a lot about other people, and it's just like, it's so frustrating for people who have to listen to Leo rising talk about other people all the time, constantly, or what they're thinking about them, you know. And that's like, not really good for you, Leo rising people. So if you do have Libra on the 3rd house cusp and you do worry a lot about what other people are thinking about you or what they're doing in life, then please stop doing that, because that is very frustrating and is only going to cause a lot of emotional traumas for you, or emotional ups and downs for you in your lifetime, because you do have Scorpio on the 4th house cusp, which represents that throughout your lifetime, especially in your home life or in your childhood, you had like these you know, these deep emotional wounds that actually came from, you know, your parents, maybe from your parents or one parent or both parents. There was something that you just always felt like you were missing in your home, and also you may have felt like, you know, there was just this deep sorrow inside of you guys. Some of you guys, you know, especially those who have Scorpio on the 4th house cusp, you just felt like, you know, you had to deal with a lot of emotions. You weren't able to really express yourself the way you wanted to express yourself, right? Some of you guys may had a mother that wasn't the most nurturing type mother. You know, maybe you had a mom who was more concerned about her own life opposed to your life, or your least dominant parent, and a lot of times you were just left alone to deal with your own emotional pain or misfortunes on your own. So that's why I do suggest, Leo rising people, that you don't think so much about other people, what they're doing or what they're saying about you, because you already have some things that you're dealing with within yourself, within your heart, within your mind, that came from your childhood. That is kind of like, you know, for some of you guys who have not evolved, it's kind of like following you into your adult life, of course. I feel like a lot of you Leo rising people can deal with a lot of negative feelings, negative emotions that you really don't tell anybody about. You really don't talk to a lot of people about it. You try to deal with it on your own, and you just want to look like things on the surface is always good and always perfect, because you do have Virgo on that 2nd house cusp. So you do value what people think about you, of course, and that's because the Libra is there on that 3rd house cusp. I feel like for you Leo rising people, you definitely need to learn how to forgive and to forget whatever it was that really, whatever it was or whatever it is that makes you feel like your home life was not the best life, or your parents were not the best parents, or whatever the case may be. I feel like you need to learn to forgive and forget, not for your parents, but for yourself and for your own success in life, because carrying this baggage is not going to help you. It's only going to kind of like keep you stagnated in your life, and that's just like not really good, because Leos, you guys are so amazing. You guys are so dynamic, and you have so much to offer the world. You are such entertainers. You are so amazing in every aspect. I really love Leo people, but I do know that you guys do deal with a lot of emotional traumas that you do not talk about with other people. Now, when it comes to your dating and your entertainment and stuff like that, you love adventure, but you also love to be in a relationship with someone that you can love deeply. You know, you want to have that deep connection with someone, but at the same token, you want your freedom. You want adventure as well. You don't want to be stuck in a routine where it's just like, you know, yeah, we do this today at 5 o'clock, we do this tomorrow at 6. No, you want it to be more spontaneous, you know, because that's going to really satisfy that Sagittarius energy that's sitting here on that 5th house cusp for you guys. You really want adventure. You really want to have fun, but you want it in a way that you have a sense of freedom. You don't want to feel like you're caged in. You don't want to feel like you're locked down by the person, but at the same token, you do want to feel important in that person's life. So you love entertainment, you love traveling, you love to do things, you love to have fun, but most of all, you love to be deeply connected to someone. You love passion. So passion is very important to you when you're dating someone. That's the most important for most Leo rising people. Now, a lot of Leo rising people, they have a very difficult time working well with other people, especially in the work environment. Sometimes they can really face a lot of obstacles when it comes to the workplace. You know, they can always feel like people are out to get them, or people are out to hurt them or set them up in some type of way, because you have Leo in the rising, which is the sun, and you have Capricorn in the 6th house, which gives you a sun and a Saturn opposition here, where they're opposing against each other. And it's like you yourself, Leo, you feel like you are the authority, and then when you're in a workplace, you have authority figures who are over you. So a lot of times you guys can really run into conflict with authority figures. You can run into conflict with your co-workers. It can be a lot of things that can happen, but on the bright side, you guys are very good with routine type work. So I do feel like a lot of Leo rising people have actually lost a job due to them not willing to conform and to respect their authority figures, you know? So Leo rising people, if some of you guys are dealing with a workplace issue right now, my advice to you would be, you know, study your opponent, study the situation, you know, and if you don't have a chance of winning, I would not fight that battle. I would just back, especially if you have responsibilities you need to take care of. The main thing you need to keep in your mind is that you're here to work, to earn a living, to go home to your family, the people who truly love you and respect you. Because the people at work, they're just your co-workers. They don't care about you, and they will do anything to hurt you if they have authority over you. So do not argue with your authority figures, you know, because chances are you're not going to win, okay? And that's just a little piece of advice, because I have noticed that about a lot of Leo rising people. When it comes to your partnerships and relationships, dealing with other people, a lot of times, especially your marriage, you know, like a spouse or whatever, a lot of you guys, you have Aquarius on the 7th house cusp, which it does represent, you know, separations and divorces, you know, detachment, because Aquarius is that sign is kind of like far away. And a lot of times in your relationships or your marriages or with other people, you do come up with creative type ways of dealing with them, but sometimes people can feel like you know, you're just a little bit too far out there with your thinking or your thought process or how you want to be in the relationship and things of that nature. So some people are not, you know, willing to conform for you in their in your marriages or your relationships. So a lot of times you do have difficulties in marriages. A lot of you guys can actually have a successful marriage if you meet the right person, of course, but a lot of times it seems to be a tad bit difficult for Aquarians to meet the right people. So you guys do have Aquarius here on that 7th house cusp. Some of you guys may not even want to get married, you know, because you may not even be interested in the conventional way of dealing with other people, you know, because Aquarius is also, it also rules unconventionality. So having that here, a lot of times you guys, some of you guys may opt to never get married or may feel like you don't ever want to be married. But those of you who do get married, a lot of times you need to get married after the age of 30. I would say most people Saturn return comes around 28, 29, but I would definitely say don't get married till after 30, because I feel like you'll have a better fighting chance in your marriage. But a lot of times if you do before that, a lot of times, depending on other aspects in your chart, a lot of times you may divorce, okay, at least once in your life. You guys are just like those type of people who sometimes find it kind of difficult relating to other people, especially when it comes to in close proximity. You know, when you become that one-on-one, you guys do well if you're just, you know, walking through a group, you know, because everybody's going to be looking at you, all eyes on Leo rising. But when it comes to those one-on-one type relationships, you don't perform so well. You know, you want that independence, you know, and people start getting too close. Sometimes you kind of like pull away because you're like, okay, you're crowding my space, because Aquarius is all about having that space, you know, they need freedom. This is air needs to breathe, okay? So a lot of times dealing with your marriages and things of that nature, a lot of you guys may opt to not get married, and especially not early on in life, okay? Now, when it comes to sex and transformations and things of that nature, you guys can want that fairy tale type love. You want a guy or a girl to be something out of the movies, basically. You do have a very strong imagination when it comes to sex and the idea of how you wish it to go and how you want it to be. So you guys find great pleasure here, and it's like a spiritual connection for you guys because Pisces is on your 8th house cusp. Another thing about you guys is that you do go through a lot of transformations, but they're usually transformations that are caused by your actions. A lot of times you guys get so caught up in your emotions, your imaginations, your intuition, that you don't know how to decipher between what's real and what is imagination. And then you kind of like concoct these ideas, you know, all of these things in your mind that's not absolutely true, and then you react to them a lot of times, and you cause yourself to have to go through a lot of transformation, unnecessary transformations, you know, in a sense. So it's very careful. You guys need to be very careful when you guys are, you know, in a situation when you're thinking, because you guys are very big on, you care about people talking about you. You care about people telling lies on you. You want to protect your name at all costs. You want to protect your honor at all time, okay? Leo is ruled by the lion, your royalty. So you don't just let it slide when people are telling lies on you or people are talking about you. But you need to let it slide because it's not necessary. Because if you don't let it slide and create these issues for yourself, you go through the transformations of losing things that you work so hard to get, now you don't have them anymore. And what did that solve? You know, some things you have to learn to let go of and move on. And I feel like a lot of Leo rising people, they deal with their 4th house issues from their childhood. They have these deep emotional scars from their childhood that they bring into their adulthood. And that's how they are. They just deal with things this way. But that's not necessarily the way to deal with things, Leo rising, okay? So if you are dealing with this, a lot of times you definitely need to, you know, really think, really meditate, really have a spiritual practice that you use daily to help you to keep a balance, you know, to balance your chakras so that you don't worry so much about other people, you know, and what they're saying or what they're doing. You know, you just really focused on what it is that you're trying to do in your life, okay? I feel like Leo rising people, because you do have Aries on the 9th house cusp, you guys are very passionate about your reputation. You're very passionate about what you believe in, and then you believe in people being honest. You believe in people being treated fairly, to a sense, you know, because Leo is a really warm, loving type sign. You believe in people just being their individual self and not hurting other people to a certain extent, and that's wonderful, you know. But in this world, we can't control what other people do. We can only control what we do. So I feel like a lot of you guys, you have this thing about religion. A lot of you may not even really practice religion. Maybe most of you guys are more into spirituality, but of course a lot of you probably are into religion. But I do feel like a lot are more into spirituality because of Pisces on that 8th house cusp. I feel like you guys actually are very passionate. Whatever it is that you're doing in life, you're very passionate about it. And sometimes that passion can come off as being aggressive. It can come off as being combative, you know, even when you speak or you do things a lot of times. And I feel like a lot of times, because you do have Aries here on that 9th house cusp, a lot of you guys will definitely opt to be single for the most part, because Aries represents independence. And you know, you've already been through the 8th house, the 7th house, the 8th house type issues. You know, you have Aquarius there where there's freedom in, you know, you want that freedom in your relationships. Then in Pisces, you want a fairy tale type love that doesn't necessarily truly exist. And then you have Aries here on the 9th house, the sign of independence. So a lot of you guys, either, you know, you will divorce, some of you will divorce because you just need that freedom, or some of you guys may opt to just not get married at all. A lot of times you guys do like traveling, but it's not like most important thing that you have to do, but you do like to explore. You do like to have an adventure. You know, you have a warrior type spirit. You have a warrior type spirit when it comes to anything that you're passionate about, okay? When it comes to your job, you know, or your career, it has to be something that you truly love. Otherwise, you may not catch on to it, or you may not pay close attention to the details of the job. You know, you may lack and not do the very best job because you don't really like this job. You know, you have to do something that you really, really, truly, truly love, because you do have Taurus here on the 10th house cusp. A lot of times you guys definitely need to be somewhere where you can actually express your creativity. You need to express your creativity because Venus rules Taurus. Venus is all about creativity. It's all about beauty. It's all about love. So you guys need to, I feel like a lot of you guys need to be somewhat somewhere in the beauty industry, you know, in the entertainment industry, you know, something dealing with, or the fashion industry, you know, modeling or doing something, because it has to be something beautiful. It has to be something that you love when it comes to your career. Otherwise, you won't feel successful, nor will you be as successful as you should be, because of the simple fact, you know, you have to be passionate about whatever you're passionate about, whatever it is that you're doing. And when it comes to your career, it doesn't change. You're passionate about what you're doing. And if you don't love it, you can't be passionate about it. Groups and organizations and things of that nature, a lot of you guys, you make friends really easy. Like, people just like you. Like, they just like you. Like I said in the beginning, you don't have to talk a lot to be noticed, you know, because a lot of times lions are kind of like quiet. They don't do a lot of roaring, you know. They can, but it just depends on what the situation is. So you guys can be kind of quiet, and even though you are kind of like quiet, you can be very talkative as well. It can go either way. You can come off as seeming somewhat bipolar, because you have Gemini in the 11th house of groups, organizations, which means that one day you can be all the way up, the next day you can be all the way down. It just depends on who you are today in this group. So groups that you are affiliated with, they don't always know who they're going to get today or tomorrow, you know, because you're constantly changing your personality to a certain extent, you know, so they don't know. And that's why you do make friends very easily, but you also lose them just as quick as you make them. Or a lot of times they just become just normal acquaintances. You know, you may not have these long lifetime friends, and some of you guys may, but you know, there's other aspects in your chart that will change this. But a lot of you won't have lifetime long friends, or if you do, they're just more like an acquaintance. You know, they may not, you may look at them as a best friend, but they may not deem you as a best friend, if that makes sense to you. Also, another thing about with Gemini being on the 11th house cusp is that Gemini is ruled by Mercury, speed, really, really, really fast. So the 11th house is about our hopes and our wishes as well. So Leo rising people want to get to the finish line quickly, very fast. They don't want to take time to build and grow, you know, like an earth sign would kind of like be slow and steady. They want everything quickly. And when things are not coming to them quickly, they get all confused. They get frustrated. And then those deep emotional wounds from their childhood, and then those that intuition and imagination from that 8th house in Pisces starts playing with their subconscious mind. And then they start having these bad dreams, or they start having these negative thoughts and feelings about themselves that can really cause them to go into a slight depression. So you definitely have to watch that, Leo rising people, when it comes to trying to get things really quickly. Remember, Rome was not built in a day, and in order to have something wonderful and great in this life, it is worth working for. It is worth building. And I promise you, if you guys would just kind of like incorporate some type of patience towards working towards your goals and your dreams, and I promise you things will really work out for you guys far more greater than you trying to rush through everything. A lot of you guys, like Leo rising people, can really have a deep attachment to their home. Like they may be the type of people who stay at home a lot, you know, mainly because they do deal with a lot of emotional issues. A lot of them may opt to stay at home a lot, you know. They may not be the type of people, like I said before, they may not be huge travelers, you know. They may not be the ones who want to go places a lot. A lot of times they would rather stay at home, you know, or be close to home. A lot of Leo rising people may have a very difficult time leaving home because they fear that things are not going to work out the way they want to because of that 10th house. Having Taurus there, they need something that they're passionate about. And if they're not passionate about it, they don't love what they're doing, they know that they can possibly quit, or they're gonna do something to get them fired, and so they're gonna need somewhere to live. So a lot of them have a difficult time, you know, letting go of home. And a lot of them you can actually look in your chart and see where the moon is placed, so you can actually see where this energy is really focused on, okay? But for most Leo rising people, they will deal with some type of family secret. There may be some type of dislike towards the mom, or it could be they really idolize their mom or want to be just like their mom, or just want to be close to their mom, a very deep attachment to the mom, and they feel like they a lot of them could also be, now on the negative side for Cancer in this 12th house, a lot of Leo rising people, when they get upset or when they get frustrated or something, they can be very violent towards their home. Actually, they can kick the walls, bust the walls, or, you know, they can just take a bat and just tear everything up because they can just get so upset sometimes, and they don't want to do it out loud in front of people. Remember, they have Virgo on the 2nd house cusp. They care about what they look like to people. So they're not going to do it out loud so other people can see how damaged they can be or become, or how violent they can be. They're going to do it somewhere where it's more sacred, more isolated, and that is in their home. And the 12th house represents isolation, jails, and asylums. So Leo rising people, be careful with that, because you guys can get into a lot of trouble, you know, when it comes to vandalism, especially when it comes to home. Some of you guys may feel like your home in your childhood was a prison. Even as you grow up and become an adult, a lot of times you may feel like you're confined to your home because you don't really measure up to the idea that people have of you. So a lot of you guys may stay in the house a lot. Some of you guys may deal with depression, you know, a lot of different things that can actually take place with Cancer being on that 12th house cusp. But overall, I just feel like you guys may have a very deep attachment to the home as well as to your mother, okay, or your least dominant parent. Overall, Leo rising people, I feel like you guys are so dynamic in your personality. I feel like you guys, you are definitely showstoppers. You are the ones who just, like, when you walk through the crowd, everyone know that you have arrived, okay? You're beautiful in your spirit, you're warm, you're loving, and you're kind. You love children. A lot of you guys do. Of course, there are other aspects in your chart that may change this a lot. A lot of you guys, you always run into obstacles when it comes to your work environment. It's just very difficult there for you guys because conformity is necessary when you're working for someone else, and that's where you guys have that Sun and Saturn opposition that makes it very difficult for you there. A lot of you guys, when it comes to your personal relationships, you love that freedom. Freedom is everything to you guys, but at the same token, you love passion. So you want both. And it's very difficult sometimes to find that. But however, you can find it, and it is here, is available to you. When it comes to your emotions, Leo, you guys definitely need to work on your emotions. Meditate daily, or whatever spiritual practices you believe in or you participate in, do them often, because it's very necessary for you guys to forgive and to forget any type of emotional hurt or damage that was done to you as a child. You need to let it go, because that additional baggage makes it very difficult for you. And I just want you guys to realize your worth and to know that at some point in time, you guys are definitely going to reach that point that you really want to be at, because you do have Venus in that 10th house. You know, you have Venus, you have Taurus there, and having Taurus there, you will eventually get your time to truly shine like the sun that you are. But you just have to go through a few things until you get there. And the word that I want to give you is conformity, okay? And until the next time, you Leo risings, I wish you guys so much love, peace, and so many wonderful blessings. Bye.